Wagwan, everyone. I hope you're doing well and welcome back to Tereak Talks. Welcome back to another Premier League preview show here on a Friday. What we like to do here as we look ahead to the Premier League games. Well, for game week 14 here in the Premier League, and I'm really looking forward to it. We've got some enticing fixtures at hand, as you can see in the thumbnail. Manchester City versus Tottenham Hotspur. Manchester United travel away to Newcastle. Arsenal host Wolves. Liverpool host Fulham. And we've got plenty more as well. Chelsea versus Brighton. You know how that is a rivalry nowadays. But I hope you're all good. Hope you're all keeping well, people. Sorry I'm late once again. You know how it goes. You know how this channel runs at this moment in time. I was very unorganized today, getting things sorted out. And things took a little bit longer than usual because I was a bit busy today. Busy, meetings and stuff at work, all the mundane stuff. But guess what? All of that is out the window, at least for the next hour for me, but not even in, of course, for the weekend as well, which we'll be talking and watching. I'm sure all of you will be watching plenty of football here this weekend. Hope everything is good. I hope the audio is all okay as well. I've not even got everything set up in the background. I'm really disorganized today, so I'm relying on you guys to keep me on my toes, of course, as well. Really do appreciate those that are here. I've not even properly shared the stream out, but if you are watching, thank you for doing so. Make sure you hit that like button if you haven't done so already. Let me know how your week's been, guys, if anything interesting happened. For me, nothing much. It's really, again, just a lot of work, watching the Champions League games. I didn't do a watch along, unfortunately, because I was meant to watch it with my sister, but she's not very well. So yeah, let's hope that she gets well soon. The reason why I support Arsenal. But yeah, so I was a little bit late planning on that, but I will be doing watch-alongs, of course, for the Champions League, especially now that Arsenal are in the round of 16. So I haven't done a Champions League watch-along for Arsenal yet on the channel. So yeah, definitely need to do that, especially when I started this, which was 2 years ago now, yeah, the summer of 2021, and yeah, we're about to enter 2024, so we'll be coming up approaching 3 years, and yeah, we've come a long way already, and I'm sure we got plenty more to go. I'm not looking to be going anywhere soon, and I want to bring you more content to the channel as well. But big up to everyone here in the chat. Love to see you in here. Big up to Realist, Shay, Mr. 200, Paxton as well, and I know I can see a lot of you guys late, disappointing yet again. 5 minutes is not too bad, says Mr. 200. Hey, thank you. We've got a mixed reception here, but I really do appreciate you all. Make sure you smash that like button, get sharing the stream as well. Do a better job than I have this evening and of this Premier League preview show, where we're going to look ahead to all the games, discuss all the key topics and everything that is at hand. It will be great. We always love to talk football, guys. That's what we're all about as well. So let's, should we get right into it straight away? I think that's only right. I think it is only right that we do. So guys, If you haven't watched a Premier League preview show before, if this is your first time watching, welcome. So what we do here, we'll discuss the fixtures, and we also have a predictions league where you guys can take part and be within a chance of winning some big prizes at the end of the season, and also multiple giveaways throughout the month. I will be announcing our second predictor of the month as well in this episode. I'm sure if those of you have been keeping up to tabs, I would like to see who you think your predictions are. I mean, you can keep up with them as well because you guys do submit your predictions in the comment section. And if you would like to take part in our predictions league and being in here for the ultimate table, it's never too late. There's still plenty of time to go in the season. I know we're over a third into the season now, but things can change very quickly. And if you're thinking, you know what, let's not bother, don't worry. There is still plenty of prizes that refresh every month. We are in a new month now, which is a very busy one, the busiest month in the Premier League, where there's so many games. So whoever wins this month, hey, you're going to deserve it because it's going to be very competitive as well. So the way to enter the predictions league, you must leave your predictions in the comments at the end of the stream. If you are watching live, you can get them in whilst we're here, and I will bring them up and we will still discuss them and have that nice live element added to things. But they will not be submitted unless you do it at the end of the stream, and you will get 3 points for correct score. So let's talk about Man City Spurs, for example, and the game ends 3-0 Man City, and you predict 3-0 to Manchester City, you will get 3 points. But if you predict 3-1 Man City, 2-0, 2-1, and you got the right result, but in that Man City winning, but not the correct score, you will only get 1 point. And if Man City draw or lose, you'll get 0. I hope that makes sense for you all. And if you are new and you would like to enter and you've got more questions, you know what to do as well. Leaving them in the comment section. I will be looking back at them. And make sure you do enter them before 3 o'clock. All of them, if you want to be submitted for all of the games, 3 o'clock is the first. First set of games here. We don't have a 12:30 tomorrow. So yeah, those 3 o'clock games will be the first set of fixtures. And we've got a busy Saturday as well. So I'm really looking forward to it, people. And let's talk about the first fixture. And I did mention it as the example, and it's the one on the thumbnail. It is Manchester City versus Tottenham Hotspur. I would say before the injuries happened, this was a really intriguing game. And I still think it has a lot of intrigue as well, and a little bit of jeopardy on there on the line. But Manchester City favourites, of course, as they always are at home. They drew 1-1 to Liverpool last week, and I feel like Man City will be quite disappointed given the result, with the amount of chances that they had in that game to score and the amount of times they got into the final third, but weren't able to capitalise on those. And Liverpool, after a very good first half from them, where they created a few chances of their own through Darwin Nunez and Salah in that final third, but kind of teetered off a little bit towards the end of the half. And when Man City took the lead, they were deservedly in front by that stage. And then after that, they got into the final third without really forcing Alisson to make too many saves, and then probably feel aggrieved by the decision to rule out their goal for the foul on Alisson. Whether you think it's a foul or not, let me know, because we've seen certainly more not being punished than that. But yeah, I guess because it is on a goalkeeper, it makes a bit more of a difference. But with Manchester City, anyway, their injury news is looking quite decent going into this, especially when you look at the rest of the Premier League. Of course, their key man and one of their captains, Kevin De Bruyne, he is still out and he won't be back for this game here. Matheus Nunes, this game comes too early for him as well. And we may see Mateo Kovacic, but I highly doubt it. This is Sunday's game, so there's still some time. And for Mateo Kovacic to get back into training, possibly tomorrow, if he's going to be fit for this game, but we'll have to wait and see. And with Tottenham Hotspur, they are on 3 games in a row which they have lost, which is crazy because for the first 10 games they were unbeaten and they did have a fast start and they were top of the league up until they faced Chelsea, and it all seemed to go downhill from there. Injuries to Van der Ven, Maddison, suspensions for a doggy and Christian Romero, And then the injuries have only piled up since that, with, you know, the likes of Pape Matar Sarr out, Rodrigo Bentancur, who picked up another injury last weekend, Mano Solomon, Richarlison, who had surgery on his pubic bone and most likely won't be back for this game either. So yeah, bit of a not a great situation for Tottenham Hotspur going into this, and, you know, losing to Aston Villa in a game which I thought they were quite good in, especially that first half, created plenty of chances. Villa were kind of holding out and, yeah, riding the storm a little bit, which, you know, Unai Emery teams do in certain fixtures, and have to withstand a lot of pressure and shots on their goal. But I thought they did that excellently well in this one here. And then Villa were able to capitalize and score and put the ball in the back of the net when it was most important, whilst being onside, which Heung-min Son couldn't remain to do so in that game. So yeah, this is going to be a very intriguing fixture. There's going to be a lot of goals in it. Pep Guardiola's spoken about this pre-match, encouraging the Manchester City fans to come to this game, because it's going to be an entertaining one where he thinks that there's going to be a lot of goals. You know how both managers are very wedded to their style, their philosophy, attacking, playing high line, taking a lot of risks with the defense. But you see it especially with Tottenham Hotspur, who don't quite have the quality and the experience that Manchester City do. And I think Manchester City are more pragmatic in their approach, which we saw towards the end of last season, where, you know, Pep Guardiola put 4 centre-backs essentially there, playing with a double pivot in some games, in the bigger games against Arsenal, to try and give them more of that stability in the defence and midfield, having that control as well. And then, yeah, flooding players in the attack. But we've seen a little bit of vulnerability from the citizens this year. Let's be honest, 4 goals conceded against Chelsea. And they're not a free-flowing, free-scoring Chelsea side at that as well. And then you're looking at Liverpool, they had chances in that game, and they do certainly leak quite a few chances. And if you're a good attacking side like Spurs are, and they have threats like Heung-min Son, who is probably the best finisher in the league. He's got one of the best conversion rates ever since he stepped foot into this league here. And that's certainly his biggest strength. He's putting that ball into the back of the net, off both feet, and running in behind against the high line that City will play, who are missing some of their key players. You know, John Stones is just returning back to fitness. And yeah, they do take a few more risks, and they've not looked as stable at the back so far. But certainly Tottenham Hotspur losing their key men, losing a lot of players within that spine. Christian Romero still won't be back as he serves his final game for the suspension there. Mickey van der Ven won't be there either. They built a formidable partnership in their games, and given the Tottenham fans and Ange Postecoglou's side a lot of hope when they're on the pitch, losing out on their key creator in James Maddison, but they'll still create chances, as we saw on last weekend. Kulusevski's going to have a big role in this game as well here. So it would be interesting to see your guys' thoughts and predictions. And do you know what? That's another thing I didn't even do, guys. I didn't even get my predictions written down. So I'm going to have to write them down as we are on the fly, because because I'm not very organized, am I, people? I'm not very organized. But how do I think this game is going to go? As I said, plenty of chances. I do favor the home side, though. If I'm being quite honest with you, I think Manchester City are going to win, and I think they'll win quite comfortably in the end. And there'll be moments in this game where Tottenham will be in the ascendancy, and Man City will have to be used to not having the ball in every single occasion. But I feel like whenever Man City will have the ball in this game, it will almost feel like they're going to score. They're going to be able to create something. Tottenham, with their extremely high line, with the pace of Haaland, the ingenuity of Bernardo Silva to work within those tight spaces. If Tottenham do try and make the pitch as compact as possible, he'll be able to maneuver some space and create something, getting it out to the wide players like Jeremy Doku. They'll be looking at that space and wanting it and being ready to attack it. So I think that Manchester City will score goals in this one. And I think it's going to be a high scoring game. And do you know what? This fixture last year was a high scoring one, but I think this will be a bit more entertaining. And I've gone for a Manchester City 4, Spurs 2. So 6 goals, risky prediction, maybe a 3-2, 3-1 situation, but I feel like Man City are going to score a minimum of 3 goals, and I've gone for 4 here. And I think Spurs might grab a couple as well. I think I might be quite generous saying they're going to pick up 2, given their injuries. And they are going to the Etihad, of course, who can show a bit more of pragmatism in that way. But they, yeah, as I said, they've not looked the greatest at the back, Man City. But let's see your thoughts and your predictions this year, guys. Well, this year for this weekend. Sorry. And yes, it is Shay, my second year with you. Big up to Shay and big up to everyone who is at OG in the building. Love to see you here. So Shay has gone for a 2-1 Tottenham win. Wow. I didn't think I'd see many of them here, but yeah, Shay's gone with that. Mike Paxton's gone for a 3-1 Manchester City win. Odegaard. Sorry, guys. I think I'm getting a little bit of a cold coming on myself. I might be coughing a lot. That's why I'm taking a few sips. And I'm really tired as well. And after this stream, I probably will be going straight to bed. Yeah, because I need to get rested up. I've had a long, busy day. But I was looking forward to this, definitely. So I might feel a bit perked up afterwards. But Odigwan Kenobi says, Tariq, do you remember who was saying Kai would come good? I'm trying to remember. Keep up the class content, mate. Odigwan Kenobi, big up to yourself. And you know what? Yeah, we'll talk about that when we get to the Arsenal. Let me save this comment and I'll read it back when we talk about Arsenal, because I think we have to celebrate. I think we really do. And I thank you for the kind words as well about keeping up the class content, because hey, I certainly wasn't in the popular group at that time when I was saying that. So yeah, I'm glad it's paying dividends. And you've gone for a 3-0 City win. It's defo wasn't a foul on Alisson. I agree, given the context, even what we've seen in recent weeks. And if you're really adamant and doubling down on that Gabriel one, PGMOL, you should be apologising for that one there. Mr. 200 said 3-1 Man City win as well. He says, you know what, make it 4. Let's add another one on top. Says Obi-Wan Kenobi. If KDB can return and get back to his best, then Man City will be more dangerous. If not, they are still quality. Absolutely. And they will carry more of a creative threat. And I will be honest as well, Pax. I thought that they were missing some of that KDB creativity, those balls through the lines into space where he times it well and has that perfect way of pass into the likes of Haaland, who made really good runs last weekend, but wasn't being spotted. I praise Bernardo Silva a lot, and I do think currently he is the best player in the Premier League, best performing player right now. But what with Bernardo Silva is, Pax, he doesn't play those. He's not the risk taker with that pass in that final third. He takes risks with his dribbling because he has such confidence within himself, but he's not a creator. He's never really hit the heights in terms of the assist numbers or goals in that return, really. And whereas KDB certainly has done, because he takes a lot more risks. He gives the ball away a little bit more than a Bernardo Silva, but he also creates a lot more because of him taking more risks. And yeah, so I did think they missed him last weekend. And if they would have had him, we would have easily seen Haaland score a couple more goals, maybe even get a hat trick to his name in that game. So yeah, definitely good point raised there, Pax. T-Dog in the building. Hope you're keeping good and well. Says 3-1 Man City, Foden, KDB, and Haaland. Yeah, KDB won't be playing, but yeah, the other two could definitely score. 2-1 Man City, Haaland, and Son for Tottenham. Just to clarify, it's City 3 and Tiny Tots 1. I thought it was that, Mr. 200. I don't think you'd ever be back in Spurs to get a win. And maybe, I don't know. I'm not even going to go anywhere with that there. But let's move on now into the next set of games, and we'll move on to the next one, which is the 8 o'clock kickoff on a Saturday night, and that is Newcastle United versus Manchester United. The battle of the Uniteds. Who is United? Let's be honest, guys. And if you are a Newcastle fan, I'm sorry, because we all refer United to Manchester United. Is it right? Is it wrong? Who knows? Oh, no, they're not the oldest United, but they're the United we know because they're the most successful. But that's not what you came here for, guys, to debate which United it is. Well, maybe it is. we always move on to random topics here on Tereak Talks. But yeah, with Newcastle, bit of a mixed week. It has been, because they did beat Chelsea by 4 goals to 1 in a convincing win, and that was massive for them given the context surrounding their club, with a lot of injuries, missing some key players, and having to rely on a first 11 essentially. And we saw that in midweek in their unfortunate 1-1 draw. I know there's been a lot of Arsenal fans out there who have taken great pleasure in that, given, do you know, mainly because of the not Manchester United, Newcastle United fans who were kind of telling us to stop crying, and they're drinking our tears, they're laughing at us. And yeah, I think that's why a lot of the Arsenal fans responded in the way that they did. How you got robbed, enjoy that. Now we're drinking your tears. That the Schadenfreude, which is taking joy in other people's misery, essentially. And that's what I certainly had an element of that. But let's be real, they were certainly robbed, and that was a horrendous decision from VAR. That's the one who I blame, and the reason I blame VAR, I thought the referee, Simon Malchiniak, the best referee in the world currently, and he definitely performed excellently. He was impeccable until that moment where he was sent to the monitor. And we know when referees are sent to the monitor, they're left with almost no choice. And that's what it felt like there. And in a very hostile stadium, you shouldn't really be given that opportunity. And if VAR just stuck with the original on-field decision, I think that'd have been fine. PSG some salty players or fans at the end of the game may have said, "Oh, we should have got a penalty." But for me, those handballs should never be given. And Newcastle, unfortunate with the result in the end, given the way that they drew and didn't pick up the 3 points in that game. But in terms of the performance, it was chalk and cheese to how they played against Chelsea. Didn't really let any chances against Chelsea at St. James's Park. Scored 4, created plenty of their own. At the Parc des Princes, PSG could have scored about 6, and Barcola could have scored about 4 of them himself. It was ridiculous the amount of chances that they missed and how much domination they had in that game. After Newcastle scored a wonderful goal from Alexander Isak, they kind of set up to sit back in that one after. And then we're speaking of the Champions League again. Manchester United, another mixed week, 3-0 against Everton. Excellent debut and performance from Colby Mainu, who's received a lot of praise from Man United fans, and Man United fans are really excited about him and thinking, is he in our best midfield currently right now? We don't really have someone of that profile to take the ball from in that first phase under pressure, carry it, and then make the right pass in there as well. So they have got someone of real talent, and someone I've seen and kept an eye on throughout the youth teams, because whenever I watched Arsenal and watched Arsenal Man United, he was someone that, caught the eye, and he was a level above everyone else on that pitch. There's a few good Arsenal talents coming up and through, and that will probably play with Mainu in and around the England levels as well. So Mainu's 18, so he's a bit further in the development than the likes of Miles Lewis-Skelly and Ethan Nwaneri and the likes of them. But you could certainly see in the academies, he was one of the best players on the pitch, and for Man United, one of their hottest prospects, I'd say he's better than what Rashford was at that young age. And I know Rashford came onto the scene hot when he broke through, and I guess he's kind of had a good start in that way. But against Everton, that 3-0 win, fortunate circumstances, a bit like Newcastle away at Parc des Princes, where they let a lot of chances up against goal, but managed to get the win in the end by being clinical, much more clinical than Everton. But then they went away to Galatasaray, and yeah, we saw one of the games of the season, certainly in the Champions League, but definitely across all comps as well, with the amount of chances that Manchester United had, Galatasaray did, errors from Galatasaray players and errors from Onana in particular, horrendous goalkeeping from Andre Onana. And this is where I kind of need to hold my hands up a little bit, because I said, and I really backed the Onana signing, and I said this is going to be the revolutionary change from moving from David De Gea to Andre Onana. I think Onana, I was thinking Onana would be close in terms of shot stopping, but it doesn't really seem like that now because the amount of mistakes that he's made in the United shirt. But I thought, the difference with how he's been able to play with the ball at his feet under pressure, it will change the way Erik ten Hag is playing, and really built his side last season. And we've seen elements of that in a way, but not enough for me. Even with the ball at his feet. And I think the other issue, the main issues is not having the players in and around Onana that are comfortable. Lisandro Martinez was the most important player in that build-up alongside Onana for me when going into the season. But Sandro hasn't been able to be fit, and he's carried and really struggled with that injury that he suffered last season, the ankle injury, and he's had a recurrence of that and hasn't really had much game time. And when he has been on the pitch, he wasn't fit. So missing your biggest and most important defender in that build up, probably one of the best ball progressors in the league. That is his big selling point for me, and why Arteta was so keenly investing in him and wanted to make him as a signing even ahead of Zinchenko. But he chose to go to Erik ten Hag, a manager he's previously worked with and at Man United, and he had a fantastic season last year, even though he had a lot of critics. And I still think there's elements of his game which is defensively, very aggressive, and he's a good defender, but lacks a little bit of that athleticism to make it at the very top level, in my eyes. And yeah, quite rash still as well, maybe too aggressive. Needs to tone it down a little bit more. But yeah, missing him, definitely important, and missing key midfielders at certain points as well. Not really finding that balance has caused Onana a lot of issues with his playing in possession. But then after that, no excuses for the mistakes that he's making. Absolutely zero in terms of the shot stopping, letting simple errors go in or straight at him, and he's pushing them into his own net, taking ridiculous risks, passing it straight to Galatasaray players like we saw in the Old Trafford game, and then taking advantage and scoring. He's going to be playing this weekend. Erik ten Hag said he's the second best goalkeeper in the league, and he's basing it off statistics in terms of expected goals prevented. And I don't think that's a very hard statistic in a way, because the amount of chances that Man United let on their goal, we saw Everton have 24 shots against them, Galatasaray into the high teens, maybe even the early 20s. I can't remember, but it was definitely in the high teens, like 16, 17s region. But yeah, the Man United do let a lot of chance on their goal. Newcastle aren't as clinical. They are more defensively resolute. And how I think this game is going to go, the cliche, and I think I mention it in every preview show, the first goal is so important, because if Newcastle get it, I feel like there is a very difficult chance of Man United getting back into this game, just given how that Newcastle want to play, how they will be happy to let Man United have possession of the ball and then try and counter-attack on them, and the vulnerabilities that Man United have shown on the counter-attack. But I feel like if United could get that first goal, given the quality difference that they have with their forwards. I know their forwards haven't hit the ground running at all in the Premier League. And yeah, the Everton game was a surprise, really, in the fact that the 3 goals came from 3 attackers in that game. But they are starting to find some form in front of goal, and they're starting to find a little bit more quality. Garnacho, left foot, right foot, he can certainly put it in the back of the net. And then Bruno Fernandes, we saw what a wonderful strike he had. Rasmus Højlund, he's got ability. We've seen it in the Champions League. He's yet to get that first goal in the Premier League as well. And then the likes, maybe Rashford comes back in. Maybe he feels a little bit more confident after that penalty that was given to him against Everton. I don't really think so. But Anthony played his best game in the United shirt. So against Galatasaray, maybe they do have that bit of quality going into it. I don't think that will happen, though. I think the Newcastle crowd, the faithful 8 o'clock kickoff, they'll really get their team on side. They'll start fast. They're a much more well-organized team and better team than Man United. Not better individuals per se, but a much better team, a cohesive unit that work as one and really understand what Eddie Howe wants from them. And they are able to get results and generate good performances, and I think that will be within their favor, and I think that they will be able to win this game. I have gone for a Newcastle 2, Manchester United 1. Let me hear your thoughts and predictions on this, guys. I just think that Newcastle will get that first goal, maybe even extend it by 2-0. I think that in the second half, later on in there, Man United might have a bit more of the edge because of Newcastle's exertions in midweek, not making a single substitute in a high-intensity game where they had to do a lot of defending, a lot of running, a lot of concentration. They're not kind of get the results or be a little bit deflated. But yeah, they will struggle a little bit, and they probably won't have many options to make substitutions either, unless they want to bring on some ridiculously inexperienced young lads, maybe like a Lewis Miley, if they've got any more talents like him in the academy. Then they'll be fine. Then I wouldn't be against Eddie Howe bringing them on, but it's hard to, when you've got so many academy players in there, to be relying on them. It's difficult to do so. So yeah, I've gone for a 2-1 Newcastle win. I could see United winning, as I said, if they get the first goal, that plays into their hands and they can try and transition with their dangerous players. Both teams will kind of want to be in transition mode in this game here. But let's see your thoughts. As I take another sip of water, throat's getting a little bit dry again. Maybe for halftime show, Shay. We'll definitely get one for halftime. Yeah, that's for sure. Newcastle 1, Manchester United 2, says Paxton, with a little bit of hope, but maybe a little bit of belief as well going into it. Got good form in the Premier League, United do. Newcastle 4, Man United 1, says Shay. Odigwan Kenobi says a draw with VAR intervening every 2 minutes and reversing every decision. Definitely could happen. We are the bigger club, so it's that simple, says Paxton. Some Newcastle fans got a taste of success and have become egotistical like any fan base. Hey, what success did they get a taste of, Pax? Because last time I checked, they haven't won a trophy in 67 years. But I get your point. I do. No, I don't do that. But yeah, T-Dog in the building says Newcastle 3, Clinton 3-0 clear of Manchester United. Gordon Isaac with 2. Mainu and Ericsson can help our midfield so much in certain games. Probably your best midfielders in possession on the ball. I think they lack a little bit of defensive know-how, some physicality and experience in there. I think, Mainu's very good defensively, and we saw that against Everton, but lacking a bit of that experience, that physicality to manage these games with such intensity. Paxton says, I never doubted De Gea. Another argument I have won at this point. I don't know, Pax. I still disagree with that, because let's not look back on De Gea and say that he was very, there was a reason why Eric Ten Hag wanted to get rid of him. And I remember his very last game in that FA Cup final, the 2 goals came down to him, and he made plenty more errors, not just with the ball at his feet, but his shot stopping ability declined as well. But yeah, a good servant, and it's not necessarily improved that much with Onana, which is more of an damning indictment on Onana, to be quite honest with you, because the bar wasn't very high for David De Gea. Mr. 200 says 2-1 Newcastle as well. And listen to Shay, he says smash the like button, people. As we will move on now into our next game. I might pick up the pace a little bit just because I can feel my throat getting a bit dry. So people, make sure you hit that like button if you haven't done so already, and get your predictions in ready, as we are going to move into the mighty Gunners, top of the league, and you're having a laugh. Hey, and they are at home to Wolverhampton Wanderers. This is a Tereak Talks derby. I do live in Wolverhampton. My stepdad, and Ed, they are Wolverhampton Wanderers fans, and of course my nephew Jacob as well, massive Wolverhampton Wanderer fan, and he lets me know about it every time he comes round. And I've been trying to convert him to be an Arsenal fan for years. I may still need some work. Is he too old now to make a change? I mean, I never changed football. I didn't ever support a different team other than Arsenal from the age of 6, 7. I started supporting Arsenal. Yeah, it might be 6 or 7. I think it was 7, because 2006 is my first clear memory. That final clear memory. Remember watching it, but I remember supporting Arsenal, watching bits of Match of the Day beforehand. But yeah, Arsenal versus Wolverhampton Wanderers. Massive game. And I think this is going to be a quite intriguing one, given the fact that Arsenal won 6-0 midweek and, of course, got that that 1-0 win with a big goal from Kai Havertz, who went into that Lens game and got another goal. So he's got 2 goals into my boy, Kai Havertz. And let's go back to this comment here before I move on to anything else. Guys, if you have been long time watchers of the channel, or if you've met me through other mediums, I spoke about him on Tom's channel, on the Gooner Talk, spoke about him on Deluded Gooner's channel, my brother, and if we big up to you as well. I've got a match reaction on there. Make sure you go check it out. Subscribe to Deluded Gooner, a top Arsenal content creator as well. Love a big shout out to him. And subscribe to Tom at the Gooner Talk. And plenty more. Harry, there's plenty more of the top ones. But I spoke about them on other platforms as well. And it's been great to have this sort of type of debate. And me, one of the few, showing a bit of patience. And I'm not the only one. There is others that have done so as well. Odegaard Kenobi, you was also with me on this. And there was even, big people within this community and other community and, others who aren't necessarily pessimistic or negative Arsenal fans who are starting to lose a bit of patience and thought, is he the one? Don't think he is. But that patience is starting to come true. Because I genuinely thought if we start finding Odegaard, not Odegaard, if we start finding Havertz with those back post runs that he makes in there, using his frame, his ability to win aerial duels and score with his head. I think that's probably where he's most dangerous. With his not like Kai Havertz with his back to goal. Neither does Mikel Arteta as well. I mean, really having him as that sort of second striker with Gabriel Jesus, who likes to vacate that central area, vacate the box, leave space for a late runner like a Havertz to run in there and probably get score a goal, whether it's through his head or a tap-in. As long as he gains that confidence, and which he seems like he is starting to now, we've seen it with a bit more of his performances. I don't think he's actually performing much better than he was before, because I thought he was performing quite well. I just think that the final action is looking a bit more convincing. He's making more penetrative runs with more vigor and direction, and saying you have to play me this ball, and he will be contesting those in the box with a little bit more confidence. I think there, but outside of the box, I think he defensively is just as good. I think he can still improve in terms of his progressive passing and finding Martinelli and building that connection a little bit better. But apart from that, I think he's just looked good, and I thought he looked good before, and people thought I was reaching for that, and he's built upon that. And so of Arsenal with their attack, and Gabriel Jesus is the key for that. And I spoke about this on the match reaction on Deluded Goonies channel, and I spoke about it on Twitter as well. This is the reason why Arsenal haven't clicked. It's because we haven't been able to get Gabriel Jesus fit and firing consistently on that pitch. And if we are able to do so, the goals will not be a problem for this team. Maybe in certain individual fixtures where you're not going to create as many chances and you need a clinical goal scorer. I hear that argument. I do. But overall, in the grand scheme of things, Arsenal won't miss out on the Premier League or the Champions League because of a lack of goals. It'll be just how we concede them, how we manage these big moments, how we manage, how do we bottle it, how's our squad looking fitness wise. We don't pick up cluster injuries like we did last year in one position in that right centre back role. And managing players like that, I think that's a big thing for Arteta this year, and he has started to manage that a little bit better, and we've seen a lot more rotation. I saw an interesting stat that it might be a little bit different now since the Lens game, but there was the 9 players last year in that the whole first 11 by this point last year played 930 minutes. The whole first 11 played at least 930 minutes. I think we've got 3 players who have played 930 minutes or more this year. Rice, Saliba, Saka. No one else has played Everyone else has played under 930 minutes. So that shows you already Arsenal are managing the minutes and managing rotation a lot better. Yes, maybe it's because a lot of it's been forced due to injuries in certain areas, but in games, we trust our squad a little bit more, make substitutions earlier, and show real depth and quality in there to maintain. I keep Arsenal's stability within that team, but maintain it as well, and then also try and kick on now with Gabriel Jesus in the side. I think if Jesus was fit, he'd probably be the other player on over 930 minutes, just given how important he is and the lack of real quality we have beyond him. But yeah, Arsenal are looking to address that in the summer, and I think that would be the right time to address it. But I would like someone a little bit similar to Jay-Z. I know a lot of other fans, and I can totally understand it. And maybe the club are looking in this direction to get a striker who is much more of a striker in that mode, a classic number 9, physical target man, running in behind, wants to be involved in the box a little bit more than a Jesus, who is more of that false 9 type of mold. I hear that differences and different occasions. We have different game plans for different opponents. Makes a lot of sense. But I just think with how Gabriel Jesus plays, our attack is much better. He interlinks so well. He facilitates our players, and they shine the way they do because of Gabriel Jesus. They get to score, they create, they have more freedom within that final third. And that's where Arsenal are at their best. And let's hope that we can maintain that now until the end of the season with Jesus. And but we're talking about Wolves ever so quickly because I spent so long talking about Arsenal there, who have been fantastic themselves and are very unfortunate to be in the position that they are in 12th position in the table with 15 points. Gary O'Neill said they should have had 22 to their name, and I totally agree. Minimum, they should have had 22. Got robbed in their last 3 games. Fulham, horrendous decision. Sheffield United, terrible decision. And Newcastle, a terrible decision in that game as well. Very unfortunate. And they're also quite unfortunate with injuries and suspensions. Of course, no Pedro Neto for this game either. Still too early for him after he picked up that hamstring injury. Looks like Ryan Aitnuri won't be fit for this game either. Gary O'Neill says it's not too serious, but he'll miss tomorrow's game. And they will be without Mario Lemina and João Gomez. They're 2 key midfielders in there, provide a lot of energy and bite in that midfield, tenacity, with 5 yellow cards each and out with a suspension. So they're going to have to change that center of the park there, which is probably one of the most important areas of the pitch as well. And they've been fantastic, Mario Lemina and João Gomez for Wolverhampton Wanderers this season. Craig Dawson is back after his 5 yellow card suspension, and he'll be a big plus for them. And man, they did beat Manchester City, and Craig Dawson was the man that pocketed Haaland. So can he do the same for Arsenal's attack alongside the likes of Max Kilman or Totti Gomez? But the other player that Arsenal needs to look out for is Wolves' top goal scorer from Hwang Hee-chan. He's got 7 Premier League goals this season, more than any Arsenal player's got. Eddie Nketiah is our top goal scorer with 5, and 3 of those came against Sheffield United. But he scored 7, and he's been their prolific man. And he's someone who definitely runs on form, hot and cold, and he's in a hot streak right now. So Arsenal need to look after him there. But I think this game, it won't be like what we faced against Lons. It'll be more similar to what we faced against Brentford. So I can't see it being a high-scoring game unless Arsenal come out the traps early and get flying. And then they might be able to cause Wolves some problems. I'm and R in between 2 predictions, by the way. Before I bring up my prediction, I'm thinking Arsenal 2-0 or a 2-1 win. I'm going to go for 2-0. I'm going to go for Arsenal 2-0. And the difference is why I've edged it. I think we're a lot more stable defensively. I think David Raya has improved with his confidence as well. There's someone who's improved and someone who I've also backed, but I think has taken his game to the next level. And that is a lot of it is due to confidence with David Raya. That Lens game, Lens were a decent team. 6-0 flatters Arsenal a little bit. Doesn't really reflect on how Lens were as a team. They're better than, I think they're probably one of the best teams that we faced at the Emirates this season. I'll be truly honest because they did cause us some problems. They were a well-structured team. They just got lethally, brutally punished for their mistakes, and we were very clinical on Wednesday. And yeah, we really took every opportunity, and we looked like a team looking to be sharp. And when Arsenal firing like that, not many teams can stop us in the world. That's why we were so good last season and had a lot of Arsenal fans purring. But I don't think Wolves will kind of allow us. They'll kind of sit back a little bit more, be defensively rigid. Gary O'Neill's a good coach, good manager, and he's giving Arsenal a lot of praise as well. So go check out his comments if you haven't done so already. He says he thinks that we would have won the league if we didn't get injuries. But it's just salty Arsenal. I mean, just our Arsenal fans who just couldn't handle that they bottled it. No, element that we did bottle it, but the biggest reason was those injuries. In key areas with a very small squad that we had at the time that wasn't expected to challenge. But that's all ground. We're looking at Arsenal now. I think we can keep a clean sheet here. 2-0 to the Arsenal. How do you enjoy that waffle, people? Did you enjoy that? There's plenty. We've gone through 3 games, and we spent 45 minutes on them already. We've got 7 more to go. We're luckily, and let me just mention this as well, because we do have midweek games, but I will be doing a Premier League preview show on Monday, as well as a Premier League review show. I haven't done one in over a year, a Premier League review show. I'll be doing a Premier League review show earlier in the day. What I'm going to ask you this as well. I'm going to join the Discord server if you haven't done so already. I've got a link in the description of this video. Please do, and the link should work. And I'm going to ask you a question there. What time should I do the Premier League review show? 12. I'm thinking maybe 12, maybe after work. I could do one before a Premier League preview show, so you can get to watch 2 bits of content. Whether if you're watching it afterwards, you got 2 bits, you got a review one, and then a preview for the midweek games. Let me know your thoughts. What time? But yeah, I'll ask that question in the Discord. Maybe not tonight. I'll probably go straight to bed, but tomorrow as well. Yeah. So let me know your thoughts and let me see what you're saying in the chat. I know I waffled on a little bit there as well. So Paxton's gone for I think you guys are going for a little bit different. I think you guys think Arsenal are going to smash Wolves. And I'll take it. Paxton's gone for a 5-1 Arsenal win. Shay's gone for a 6-0 Arsenal win. Erdogan Kanovi's gone for a 7-0. T-Dog's gone for a 5. Mr. 200 says Havertz is going to continue his goal-scoring run and Arsenal are going to win 3-0. Shay's moved it up to 8 now. And Erdogan Kanovi says, such a shame about Neto. He was looking is it Balesque? Is that how I pronounce the word? Or is it Balesque? Oh, Bale. Sorry. Bale-esque. Sorry. I got it now, Erdogan Kanovi. Yeah, he was looking Bale-esque. I think that's what you're saying. Clarify that. I said it with certainty. Now I'm hesitating, in my opinion. Hopefully he comes back stronger than before. Absolutely agree. He's quality. Is you must lose, says realist. Yes, got it spot on. Thank you. And I'm in college on Monday. Hey, you might be able to watch it after college, my brother, as well. Let me know your thoughts. Paxton says Havertz scores a couple of goals, and everyone's saying how good he's good now in the Champions League. Arsenal have been levels above what they've shown in the Premier League. All I'm saying on it, yeah. Arsenal have done, and I think a lot of it is due to the opposition that we faced, who don't sit in a low block, don't just sit and double team our wingers. And yeah, because we've had Gabriel Jesus playing a lot of those Champions League games as well. I think that's when Arsenal have looked at their best in there. And Gabriel Jesus is massive. He played a lot of Champions League games and then wasn't quite fit enough to start in the week on the weekends games. So yeah, I think that's a big thing. I finish at 3 p.m. Hey, you'll have a good time to check the show out then. But yeah, join the Discord server if you haven't done so already. Shay, I think you might be in there. But let's move on. They're going to get through the other games in much more of a swift fashion. And this is the kind of last big game. A last tight game, a difficult one to choose. But Chelsea at home to Brighton in this blue and white derby that is certainly become a derby over the last couple of years because of Graham Potter being taken, as well as the Brighton backroom staff as well, like Paul Winstanley and others there, and then taking the likes of, well, the whole debacle with Levi Colwill, that Brighton wanted him and Chelsea were reluctant. Robert Sanchez, another one, as well as Moises Caicedo. That's probably the big reason. A lot of to and fro from both fan bases about that player there. But this game, Chelsea, back of a 4-1 defeat. Very disappointing result after having such a good run, really, in their last 2 games, scoring 4 goals against Tottenham and winning that by 4-1, 4 goals against Manchester City, and drawing just before the international break. And then they only go and concede 4 goals again against Newcastle. But here it's a must-win game for Chelsea, given the fact that Brighton played in midweek as well. So that we have seen it have a big impact on them this season, losing important players like Caicedo and McAllister, but also managing the midweek fixture, the Europa League schedule, which is very demanding. Even the biggest clubs have known, like if Chelsea were in there, I'm sure it had an effect on them. Had a massive effects on Arsenal even last season, and we're a club that are bigger than Brighton, have more financial resources, and able to pay more, have bigger and better squads, definitely financially wise. But Brighton are a very well run and managed club, and with a top coach at hand. So I think that kind of balances it out a little bit. And Chelsea's still trying to find some continuity. Got a few injuries and suspensions of their own, including Reece James, who picked up a red card in that Newcastle game. Let's have a look at their injury list because it's quite extensive. So Wesley Fofana, Ben Chilwell, Reece James, and Cucurella out with suspensions. Romeo Lavia most likely won't be fit for this one either. Trevor Chalobah and Carney Chukwuemeka. However, Christopher Nkunku could make his first game, could be involved. Most likely, definitely won't start this fixture, but would be a big plus for Chelsea if he's able to feature off the bench. That would be massive for Chelsea going into this one here. So yeah, with Brighton, they do have Mikado Mitoma returning. They won in midweek against AEK Athens. They also beat Nottingham Forest after being 2-1 down, I do believe, in that game. And yeah, 1-0 down, and then they went 3-1 up, and then went down to 10 men and made it 3-2. So they do have an extensive injury list of their own. No Estupinan, no Tariq Lamptey, no Ansu Fati, no Danny Welbeck, no Julio Enciso, no Mohamed Dahoud, Adam Webster, Lewis Dunk, Solly Marr. There's some big names missing for Brighton in this one. If they do manage to get a result, they won't be the first team to have a big injury crisis and manage to get 3 points off Chelsea this season, but it will be a massive task at hand for them. I do think Chelsea are going to win this one. They are going to pick up a home win. When's the last one? The last home win? Who was that against? Was it Luton? Was Chelsea's last home win against Luton? I think it might have been, Wow. That's a long time ago. That's August. Wow. So yeah, maybe I shouldn't be going for a Chelsea win here, but I think they are going to grab this win now, just because they are facing a depleted energy and resourcefully depleted Brighton team in this game here. But we'll have to wait and see. Sunday, 2:00 kickoff. Won't be on TV here in the UK, but it will be elsewhere. Paxton's gone for a 2-2 draw in this game here. Shea's gone for a 2-1 Chelsea win. Realist has gone for a 1-0 Brighton win. Shea's changed it to a 3-1 Chelsea. Mr. 200's gone for a 2-0 Brighton win. And Erdi Guankanobi said Caicedo and a Sanchez OG. So, hey, the players with links to both teams scoring well. 2 from Chelsea. And I think that Brighton fans would love to see either Sanchez or a Caicedo or Cucurella. Can't play as another one. But Levi Colwill or the Brighton Chelsea links, any of them scoring on goal in this game here. But we've got 2 people who have gone for Brighton wins in this game here. Agent Brightons, exactly. We'll have to wait and see for this one as well. So the next game that we've got is Liverpool at home to Fulham. Liverpool off the back of that 1-1 draw in a difficult place to go most difficult ground, given the form that Man City were in. 23 games in a row they won at home, and they won every single game apart from until they faced Liverpool at the Etihad in the year 2023. But of course, they will be at home to Fulham, who Fulham are off the back of that 3-2 victory under fortunate circumstances, who are certainly the underdogs going into this game here. If they will be, anything other than a loss will be a positive result for Fulham, and it's more about damage limitation, given how Liverpool have been and how scary their attack can be, especially at home at Anfield and against this level of opposition. Salah is in ridiculous form, even against Man City, and he wasn't good at all in that game. But to still pull off an assist thanks to Trent Alexander-Arnold, what a beauty goal! It's crazy, really. It's the form that Mohamed Salah is in. Losing a couple of players due to injury, though. They will have no Alisson. They'll have no Andrew Robertson, of course, or Thiago. But they lost Alisson and Diogo Jota in that game against Man City. So two good players for them there. But Luis Diaz has been on hot form ever since the post-kidnapping of his father, and they've been able to bring him back home. So yeah, this one will be a difficult game for Fulham, who do let up a lot of chances and overperform XG a lot. A little bit like Liverpool overperform XG as well themselves. But Marco Silva's got a well-drilled team. They know what they want to do, know they need to ride their luck out a bit in these types of fixtures, but generally tend to do well. And I've gone for myself a 3-1 Liverpool win. Did you know 3-1 is the most common scoreline in football? So yeah, if you ever want to be safe, guess a 3-1 win for the favourites. And yeah, I think Liverpool will get this one. And I think it's Liverpool's most common scoreline as well this season. So yeah, 3-1 Liverpool for them there. Paxton's gone for a 1-0 Liverpool win. Shea's gone for a 1-1 draw. Wow. The only one who's gone for a Fulham to get anything in this game. Mr. 200's gone for a 3-2 Liverpool win, so we think there's going to be goals. And Erdogan Kanobi, more along the lines of me, but he's gone even further with a 4-1 Liverpool win. The next game is Aston Villa versus Bournemouth. And Aston Villa, the high-flying team, as we've mentioned, they are in fourth place. After beating Tottenham Hotspur, they are having a fantastic season under Unai Emery, and he's doing a brilliant job in Europe as well. They've qualified into the round of 16 for the Europa Conference League, who are one of the teams who are the favourites to win that. Actually, not one of, they are the favourites to win that competition as well. Goals from Moussa Diaby. It was not looking good for my little prediction. Well, my little bet I've made with an Aston Villa fan that Havertz will score more than Diaby in all comps. It's 4-3 to Diaby right now, so I've still got time. And if Kai Havertz can kick on and really go on a good run of form, then maybe things will be looking good. But yeah, Diaby, excellent. Not as good. Not as good as Ollie Watkins or the likes of Douglas Luiz, who's attracting a lot of attention from Liverpool, Arsenal as well. But yeah, it's a very good team. John McGinn, Matty Cash, they've got plenty of good players. Pau Torres, one of the signings of the season as well. Had a very shaky first game for them, Aston Villa. But again, Aston Villa will be travelling to one of the informed teams in recent weeks in the Premier League in Bournemouth, who did beat Newcastle and Sheffield United last week. Will be entering a little bit of a good patch themselves, but it's going to be a tricky test coming up against this Unai Emery team. But Bournemouth, maybe off the back of a Europa Conference League fixture, they're primed and ready to take on Villa here. Villa might not be at their sharp best. And we know in the Premier League, if you're not at your best, you leave a big opportunity for the opposition to grab a win. And that's even if you're Man City, let alone Aston Villa, which, even though how great they are, still have some defensive vulnerabilities. They do score plenty of goals. That's how Unai Emery likes to play. I think Unai Emery said he would rather win a game 4-3 than 1-0. That was one of his famous quotes with his time at Arsenal, which isn't what the best teams in the world do. But yeah, certainly the most entertaining ones. But I think that Aston Villa They won't win necessarily by 4 goals to 3, but 2 goals to 1. There will be goals scored from both sides in this game here. I think Villa will be able to march on, carry on, and if they can do that and go enter that Manchester City game in midweek, still in fourth, and even extend their lead on the likes of Spurs as well, then things will be looking rosy, and it'll be a bit more of a free hit, that Villa Man City game for Aston Villa, and then they'll have to face Arsenal on the Saturday. So Villa, they are going to have some tricky fixtures in their next couple. They will be at home for both of them, of course. So I'll give them a better chance of even trying to get something from those games. But yeah, they'll need to get something from here, unless they'll be at risk of entering a little bit of a down patch. But I can't really see that happening. So I've gone for an Aston Villa 2-1 win. Paxton's gone for Bournemouth 0, Villa 2, Derby brace, and you can get lost with that. I know exactly why I've done it. This is from Pletty Gold, being told that Liverpool is not pushing for Kylian Mbappe. His transfer in the summer is not an issue at this stage. Also, Liverpool, don't think many clubs can really go after him like that. Financially, the package that they all want and demand as a free transfer, Real Madrid pound, that's for sure. Erdogan Kenobi says 3-2 Villa. Bournemouth 1-1, says Mr. 200. I hope that's true. I would like to see Villa get taken down a peg or two. And no disrespect to you Villa fans, it's just that I don't really want you entering the Arsenal game with a lot of confidence. Maybe you can beat City and then kind of roll over for us there. That would be nice. But Bournemouth 2, Aston Villa 3. Ollie Watkins will score the winner, says Shay. Watkins injured? Is Ollie Watkins injured? You're lying. Let's have a look. Oh my words. Ollie Watkins had a very small pain, not very strong. We decided to rest him. Ooh, so he might be fit enough for this game. It's not a big injury, but he might be managing this injury to play in some of these big fixtures for Aston Villa. He has been their main man. They won't have Boubacar Kamara for this game as well, who's one of their key defensive stalwarts in that midfield, who's given the license to the likes of Douglas Luiz to roam a little bit and have a bit more freedom going into the final third, which he certainly profited from. Big up to yourself, Mr. 200. He says, I have to put T-Dog to bed. I'll put my predictions in tomorrow night. Or big up to yourself, Mr. 200. Love to see you in here. Really says, I need Diaby to score 2. Realist packs. The door is that way. Yeah. You just want to see me wear a Spurs shirt, isn't it? You guys, I thought you were friends. I did. I really thought you wanted to see the best for things in me in life. That you want me to endure that pain. Disgusting. I said I shouldn't have made that bet, but no. Kai Havertz, Waka Waka, hey, Samanamana, other way around. I messed it up. You can tell I'm tired. Let's move on into a London derby, East versus South, West Ham United versus Crystal Palace. And I'm going to talk about the visitors first because they've got an extensive injury list and they're missing 2 key players in particular. Eberechi Eze, he's going to see a surgeon. They're hoping that he won't need surgery, but he's damaged his ankle. And the same goes for Cheick Doucouré. It was a mixture of Cheick Tiote and Doucouré. Rest in peace to Cheick Tiote as well. But he's got a real bad injury. It looks like it's an Achilles tendon rupture. So he will be out for an extensive period of time. And it's one of those injuries that can have an impact on a player's career. Eberechi Eze, his teammate, had suffered with that, and it took him a long time to get back into this sort of form that he's showing now as one of the best attacking midfielders in the Premier League. But even since then, he's not been able to shake off the injuries, and he's had quite a few injuries of late, which, you know how much I love Eberechi Eze, guys, but this is where he has some question marks, and probably why Man City weren't willing to pay the money that they want, that Crystal Palace wanted, which wasn't actually that much. But given a player of his quality, but the injuries are certainly a concern. But West Ham at home, mixed again. It's really hard to predict West Ham, to know what you're going to get. 1-2 games this week, beat Burnley after being 1-0 down last week Saturday, and then they did beat Who did they beat? Ferencvaros, I think. Yeah, in the Europa League by 1-0. Big result there for West Ham. And just because of the injuries to Crystal Palace, I think that West Ham will win this game. And I have gone for a 2-0 West Ham win. That's the result I've gone for. I can't see Crystal Palace scoring goals without their key creator and chief defensive midfielder, who is a big player in transition that helps Crystal Palace and Roy Hodgson's side. Look so threatening away from home, especially in these sort of London derbies. Well, they were missing. West Ham's injury list isn't actually looking too bad. They're missing important players, though, in Jared Bowen and missed Mohamed Kudus, but should be back and available for this game. And that's the same for Bowen as well. He could be back for this one. But yeah, Mikel Antonio, this game comes probably this week is too soon for him. He could return not next Saturday, the week after, potentially as well. So yeah, big performances there coming up. I predict for West Ham. Let's go in and let's fly through these games. Burnley versus Sheffield United. As I said, I'm flying through them. A little bit of disrespect to this fixture because it is a relegation 6-pointer. It is 20th versus 18th, with Everton in the middle there. These two teams would have been right next to each other hadn't it been for Everton's point deduction. This is a relegation 6-pointer. A draw would be the worst result. These two teams, favourites to go down. I think if there is one winner, it's difficult because I've been impressed with Burnley of late, even though they've not been able to quite pick up the results. They're a very young team who are very inexperienced. A little bit, I'd say Burnley are like the Southampton that was last season, the youngest team in the league, had some good players like Luca Koleosho, Zeki Amdouni, and interesting players. And that's just to name a couple. There's plenty more like James Trafford in goal. I mean, Alderweireld and the likes of there. But they're just very inexperienced and don't know how to win Premier League games. Very different squad to came up last year. But I do think that Sheffield United are probably better suited to winning right now, winning games. We've got a better, a more cohesive squad. They have won more games as well, of course. Not many more. I think only one more. I think they've both won the same amount of games, actually. So, yeah. I do think if someone is going to win, it will be Sheffield United, just because of that, their experience. But I do rate Burnley more. If you get what I mean, I rate the individuals that play for Burnley more, and I think the individuals that play for Burnley will have a better Premier League career than the individuals that should play for Sheffield United. But I just think as a unit, the Sheffield United team, a bit more experienced and a bit more cohesive as well, and understand a little bit more about the game management side. So I've gone for a Sheffield United win. But I'll be very impressed. I'll be happy to see Burnley win. I'd want them to stay up, to be quite honest with you. But I don't know who I'd want to go down in place of them, actually. But let's put them down. Brentford at home to Luton. And Luton, the other team that are the favourites to go down. The three promoted sides who are favourites to make it at the draw, to go straight back down, which rarely actually happens in the time. And it might not happen, as Luton are the best placed team out of the new promoted sides to stay up. They've got 9 points, so they've got a bit of a gap between them and Sheffield United. So if Luton don't win and Sheffield United do, they've still got a point gap between them. But yeah, you don't really want that to happen if you're Luton. You want to keep this gap there as long as possible to the end of the season, to the end, probably last 2 games, to be honest, because then they'll be 1 win away from staying up. And Luton, they have got a big fixture coming up in midweek as well. This is going to be a difficult one. Brentford at home, only Arsenal, Everton, and Newcastle have beaten them in the year of 2023. Arsenal beat them 3 times. Well, it wasn't 2023, but in the past year, you get my point. In the only Arsenal have beaten one of the since the start of last season, only Arsenal, Newcastle, and Everton have beaten Brentford. That's the stat. And I promise you that's the correct one. And Arsenal beaten 3 times as well. So, yeah, big result for Arsenal, but not a disappointing one for a good, resolute Brentford team who had chances of their own. I think it'll be too difficult for Luton to try and keep them out and then even to try and score on the other end as well. Let me see what your predictions are in the Burnley Sheffield United game before I give mine. Actually, Erdogan Kanobi said 3-0 West Ham. West Ham 4-1, 4-2 as well. What has Paxton gone from here? Burnley 1-0 against Sheffield United. Burnley 2-1, 3-1 Burnley, 2-0 Burnley. Pat's gone for a 3-2 Brent. I haven't given mine on that one yet. Sorry, people. As you can tell, I'm losing it a little bit. But yeah, everyone's gone for Burnley wins. I think I'm the only one who went for a Sheffield United one. Hey, this is why you guys are generally doing better than me in the predictions league, which I can show you very shortly at the end. But I do think Brentford are going to win this one, and I've gone for a 2-0 win for Brentford against Luton. Another 2-0 win, by the way. Pat's gone for a 3-2 Brentford win. Shay's gone for a 2-1 Luton. Erdogan Kanobi says, I want Luton to win, but Brentford won't concede in this one. 2-0. Hey, Erdogan Kanobi. Great minds think alike. That is for sure. And I've gone for a 2-0 win as well, my brother. So, yeah, let's go with the next game. And this is the final game, I believe. Yes, it is the final game. And the final game I've got on here, which is Nottingham Forest at home to Everton. Nottingham Forest, they did in fact lose their last game against Brighton in weird circumstances, facing 10 men, drew it back to 3-2, half the deficit. But then Everton, who were excellent against Man United in that first half in particular, but couldn't take their chances. So teams that are ruin home defeats face each other, with the former being at home in Nottingham Forest and Everton away. Everton, who are sitting in 19th position thanks to that 10-point deduction. Otherwise, they would be in that place that Nottingham Forest hold in 15th if it wasn't for that 10-point deduction, which wouldn't mean that they're safe and, you know, they're well adrift, but it would mean that they have a good cushion at this stage. Whereas now they're right in it and right in the thick of it. But because I saw good signs from Everton and have typically performed better away from home than they did at home, I think all the signs point to an Everton win. And there was a few rumours as well I saw this week that the Nottingham Forest owner gave Steve Cooper the vote of confidence. And you know what that means, guys. If you guys of you watched the game and been involved in it a lot, when owners start doing that vote of confidence, it means that they are on thin ice and they are a couple of results away from the sack. And this one could be, I don't know if it's going to be the final nail in the coffin, but it could be one of the nails in the coffin if Steve Cooper doesn't win. But we don't know what we're going to get with Nottingham Forest. They beat Aston Villa, but then they went and lost to Brighton. And, you know, Aston Villa have been better than Brighton this season. But, yeah, you never know what you're going to get. They're like a box of chocolates at Christmas time. You don't know if you're going to get a bounty, if you're going to get a toffee penny, or if you're going to get a truffle or a strawberry dream. Let me know your favorite Christmas chocolates as well. It is that time of year. You know when the watch-alongs come thick and fast, people. Pause. But that means so does the random food chat and the random Christmas chat. And that will be back as well. Will I do a watch-along tomorrow? No, I won't do one tomorrow, but I will do one Sunday for the Manchester City versus Tottenham game. Stay tuned for that one. We'll have random chat as we're watching the goals flooding at the Etihad. If you want to be there for that, we talk a lot of football, but we also talk a lot of nonsense as well that I'd like to get involved in. I'd like you to get involved in as well, people. So stay tuned. Make sure you hit that notification bell. As I show you, I predicted Everton 2, Nottingham Forest 1. Maybe I'm wrong. Let me see what you guys and girls are saying. We got Forest 1, Everton 3. Shay's gone for a 1-0 Everton win as well. Erdogan Kanobi says this will be a draw unless Forest fans show up and are as loud as they can be. I think 1-1. If they are, these Forest fans are very supportive of Steve Cooper, and a lot of them do want him to stay. He's a fan's favourite, of course, from the job that he has done there And if they do want to show, is it Evangelos Marianakis? Yeah, the owner of Nottingham Forest, then they will have to show that real support, loud energy, and get the likes of Anthony Elanga in their prime form, ready to beat down Everton. But yeah, Shay's gone for an also 1-0 Everton win. Big up to yourself, Casey, in the building as well, and King in here. I love to see you in here, guys. Really appreciate you. Casey's gone for a 2-2 draw in this game. King says, big up, bro. Doing a night shift today, but had to tune in to show some love, smashing it. Love to you as well, my brother. Really appreciate you coming in, popping in whilst you're on a late and doing that night shift. Hey, that's a tune, busy signal. Hey, if you know that tune, big up to yourself. Bounty, hey, big up. Pax, big up, man. Big down. Small down. No, Bounty are beautiful. Beautiful chocolates. I love them. Might need to check your Spotify rap soon as well. Hey, Pax. Sunday, we'll get it patterned. I'll get it put in there. I might put it in the Discord, actually. Yeah, Discord or Sunday. You'll see it soon. I'll put it. I'll bring up on Sunday as well. But yeah, you could probably, Pax. You know me. You know me well. You could probably guess one of the artists that's in that Spotify Wrapped. That's for sure. As well. Potentially Shay. I'll let you know in regards to that. Definitely at halftime. But during the watch alongs, I do like to keep it between us and the chat a little bit more, because the chat, that's what I really like to engage with the watch alongs, because a lot of us, if you're anything like me, I know this is going to sound a little bit sad now, but I've watched a lot of football by myself, just mainly because I've been the only boy in the family in the house a lot of the time. With my sisters, has been out or living in a different. I've been watching a lot of football by myself, and I don't just watch Arsenal. I watch plenty of Premier League football, and yeah, I like to be able to interact with those as well who might not have who are a bit similar situation as me, who don't exactly have like a wide brothers and cousins to watch football with, and we'll all like to connect together and just chat nonsense like you would if you was at the pub, in that sense. But yeah, we'll do it on stream because it's an easy way for us to interact, and yeah, to provide some entertaining content, and you guys make it just as entertaining for me as well. Arsenal, can you do something for me? He knows. Big up to yourself, Fax. You're a legend, says Shay. Big up to yourself, man. Really do appreciate you guys. Before we do wrap up, I do need to show you the predictor table and the predictor of the month. Announce the winner. So this was the table last week. Mange sitting pretty at the top. Has there been any changes? There certainly has done, and Mange is still sitting pretty at the top with a 4+3 7-point lead ahead of Paxton, who's also had a good week himself. But I'm sitting there right behind you, 4 points behind you, Pax. Pause again with 92. I have jumped from 4th to 3rd, making a late run at this. Mr. 200 is in 5th, and the gap is a lot tighter. Jacob returned with his predictions last week, and he's trying to make a late surge. Jacob was the one who was the early front runner, and then he went a bit like Tottenham. It went down. He went out injured, and he was missing for a few weeks, but he's now looking to make a big late return. Alicia in 7th, King in 8th. There is a bit of a gap between 7th and 6th, but those things can change ever so quickly. But there is a much smaller gap between Alicia, King, and then Shay down there in 9th with 42. And as I said, don't be disheartened. There's still plenty of time to go. And if you are a new person, make sure you get your name in there. We've still got 12, only up to 12 people who have made predictions so far this year. But if you are new, Odigwan Kenobi or anyone else, just pop them into the comment section, and then I will be able to submit them as well. Paxton is always fast at submitting them. So if you ever get any problems or difficulties, I recommend copy Paxton's and then just edit the scores the way that you do as well, guys. Whether if you're on a computer, you can just highlight it and then copy and paste, or if you're using your phone, just copy that format that Paxton uses as well. Or you can even do a Mr. 200 format, and this is And this is real love and commitment, by the way, from Mr. 200, because the reason why I get you guys to put them in the comments, it helps the channel. That's the one thing. Comments boost the algorithm just as much as likes, if not more. So make sure you smash that like button. But yeah, it really does help, especially a small channel like myself, boost up the algorithm. And you guys are a big reason why I get some decent views on this show, and in particular the Premier League preview show. So yeah, thank you. I really do appreciate that. We get good traction after the live streams because of your comments, people. So you can do it the Paxton way or the Mr. 200, where you literally just put each individual comment for each prediction. And it's great. I love either way. Whichever's easier for you guys, I really do appreciate that. And speaking of Mr. 200, he was the predictor of the month for this, not December. Oh, I said December to him. And I sent it into a message as well. For November, he was the predictor of the month for November. This is a brand new month, and congratulations to Mr. 200. He did win a £20 gift card as well, and that gift card can be yours next month in the Premier League Predictor. And there is a big month of football in December. We've got plenty of games to be discussing. So guys, make sure that you are getting your predictions in at the end. There is a long way, and this is a marathon, not a sprint as well. There are some sprint elements, and I'm rewarding those people who are having good runs of form within the month as well. So people, make sure that you do get your predictions in there. I will be back with you tomorrow for a match reaction for the Arsenal versus Wolves game. I promise you I'll be back with you for that. And then I will also be back on Sunday for a Manchester City versus Tottenham watch along. So enjoy your weekend, people. Love to you all. Let me just read some comments before I go. Moss can hold that, says Paxton. He can do. I'm jumping ahead of him. Matt G in the building. Love to you, Matt G. Says, yes, T. And chat just joined. So I'll start from the beginning. You're an absolute legend, Matt G. Really appreciate you as well, my brother. And Paxton says, congratulations, Mr. 200. You was in second place indeed, Pax. And I think that's the second time that you've been in the top three as well. So Pax, you're due next, really, to have a good run. So yeah, if you do win it, you know you've been setting pace, really. That's why you are sitting pretty in second, because you're consistently good in there. But so is Mange, of course. Mange won the first one, but yeah, you've been. That's the second time now you've been in there. So big up to yourself, Pax. Love to you as well for showing support to the channel and everyone else. And guys, I will catch you later tomorrow, less than 24 hours away, when Arsenal hopefully beat Wolves. And guys, love to you all. Enjoy your Friday night, and where else? You know what I'm doing? I'm having a sleep. Peace.